But yeah, so hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, Coco Creates. So I'm Zoe and this is Coco. And this is my Flosstube channel. So where I create cross stitches and do a bit of knitting and sometimes crochet, and Coco creates a mess. So that's her job. So I better let her go now because she's just noticed the door's open and she wants to go out into the catio and have a play. So there we go, and we will get started. So yeah, so as you may notice, this is a bit late. So I had an issue with my phone and some of my recordings. Basically I lost a lot of the recordings that I'd done, and then I had a bit of a spiral where I was just like, oh, I'm not going to make any more then, you know. So yeah, but I'm here now. I do have quite a lot of things to show you. Hopefully it's not going to take too long, but we will see how we get on time wise. I might crop a few bits out as we go, you know, at the end. If it's a bit too long, then I might have to shorten it a bit, but hopefully it's not too bad. So today I have some whips to show you, things that I've been working on. I have some finishes. Yeah, you go me. I even have some fully finished items. How about that? So I also have I have been using this. It's my book of days, so I've got some things to talk about in there. So that's got all of my, you know, what I've been working on and my numbers and that, so I can tell you. I have my new WIPopoly board that I've made to show you, and also we have been on retreat. So we've been to the Essex Needles Retreat, so I have some goodies that I have picked up from the D-stash table, things that I bought from there as well. And yeah, so let's get started. So what we'll go with first is let's do my whips, and I would say no particular order. The order they're going to be in is the order that they're in this pile, and I'm just going to work down the pile. So they're not quite in the order that I worked on, but we'll go from there. Now, I must admit, my feeling of this is a lot more boring compared to other people's. So it's lots of writing. I do keep saying I need to put some colour in here and some stickers and other bits, but I just don't get around to it. But you know, this has all my numbers in, all the days that I've worked on. It's got all my goals for the year in here, so you know, it's doing its job. So it's not quite as exciting as Ellie's. So if you go on to Stitcher, her channel, she has all different themed stickers that she uses for different things, and it's very fun to look at. Let's start with so going back to January. So it's going to be like a first quarter recap. So whips that I worked on in January. So I rolled for my WIPopoly board, and a couple of the rolls that I did, I was finding it really hard to land on a project that I either still had, because some of them I'd finished, and some of them I de-stashed. So I was sort of landing on squares. It's sort of like, well, I don't have that project, so I was having to roll again and again, which is then what came to me, just sort of scrapping that and making a whole new board, because you know, it'd been 2 years, so it was about time. So one of my rolls was for my swan in the Moonlight piece. Now I don't have a picture of this because this was one that I charted myself a long time ago, and I did, was it 600? Yeah, 600 stitches on this. So if I've got a picture, I think I have screenshots from when I did my whip parade, so I'll put in a picture of where it was here, and then very artfully fold it. This is where I was up to. So I basically worked another stripe of this moon here. So the piece does come down to here. You can sort of see, you can sort of see the white stitches. That's part of the swan. So and then it comes across, and there's a tree over here. It's actually almost double the width of that. As I mentioned before, I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing the whole thing, but I will be working in stripes, and then I'm going to kind of stop, you know, when I think there's enough of the tree that you understand it's a tree. But yeah, so just more of the moon. So this is a full coverage piece, all in sort of DMC anchor, and yeah, so just work 600 stitches off that. This one I only have a paper copy. I have a very bad paper copy because it's quite old, but you know, we're getting there. Progress is progress. So that was 600 stitches there, and then I also rolled for Pandemic. So this is a long dog sampler, so I'll put the finished picture here. And I purchased this at Silver at the I got this at the start of the pandemic. I think when she first released it, it was a free chart, so I got it when it was free. But yeah, and then this fabric, I do love this fabric. Unfortunately the dyer is no longer dyeing fabric, but I just love those colours there. And so I'm doing this in white. So I'm using Silks for You, sort of natural undyed silk. Oh, someone's come back in. Is it too windy out there? You lost a needle. And again, I will pop in I want to try and, if I try and lean, oh, right. If I try and lean to the side, then I can put insert all my pictures here. So this is where I was when I, started. And this is where I am now. And I did 918 stitches. So I sort of worked basically this area up here and across. But yeah. So this is one of my goal pieces for the year. So I wanted to get to, where was we? Was it 20%? Yeah, I wanted to get to 20%. So that gives me, see, I did write it down. I didn't all write it in the same place, but I wrote it down. So yeah, I did 900 stitches, and it leaves me 6,700 for the year. So, I'm getting there. So although I think that's the only time I worked on it, so I do need to pick up the pace a little bit with some of these goals. But yeah. So, and then next I picked up 3 baby dragons. So this is a chart by Shiny Suns Designs, and here's what it's going to look like. So it's all in sort of grayscale, and it is a full coverage again. And this one again, it's only a paper copy. She only does paper copies. So what I did is I actually managed to scan this up onto, what is it? Oh gosh, my brain's just, Markup XP. There we go. So yeah, managed to scan this up onto Markup XP. It took a while, I'll be honest, to try and get it all up, because obviously it's a multi-page pattern. So if you want more details on how I did that, let me know, because it's a whole thing and I don't want to bore everybody that doesn't have that. So I have been using Markup for a little while now. There's a couple of issues that I have with the app, things that don't quite work properly, but it remains to be seen as to whether it's worth the £18 that you have to pay for it. So I will £18 a year, sorry, that you have to pay. So I will see. But anyway, this is my progress. So this is about the halfway mark across, and so this is where I was, if I haven't shown you already. And I did 700 stitches in this. So I think I sort of finished this stripe down and then started the next diagonal coming back up. So yeah, so we're just getting to that little one's wing. So hopefully we'll be getting, a bit more interesting soon. There we go. So that was 3 baby dragons. Right. So next we have bath time. Now I didn't take a picture of her where I stopped in January, and I've worked on her again in March. So I will say that. So in January I worked. I rolled 11, so I did 1,100 stitches on her. And then at the start of this month, so April, yeah, we're on April now, aren't we? Basically she was already out, and so I've just worked on her basically the whole first week of April. So I've done another 2,700 stitches. So what's that in total? 3,841 stitches. So 3,841. So I don't have the picture of what she's going to be, so this is how she'll look when she's finished. and this is how she was when I started at the start of the year. And now I have rolled her up, so I've done this part that I will also show you. So lots of pictures I'm inserting, and then I've also rolled her up, so I've also now done this part here. So yeah, I work in 20 stitch diagonals, and I've sort of worked from the bath down here, this stripe up there. So we're on our way back up to the top, and I think from very rough maths that to reach my yearly goal I need to carry on up this stripe all the way to the top, then the next stripe down, all the way down, and then a little bit more, and I think that's my yearly goal. So we're not doing too bad. But yeah, so I think that puts us at, yeah, that puts me at 49.5%, and my end of year goal is to get to 53. So yeah, so I've done, where did I write down where we started? We started at 48, so I've done 1.5%. So out of the 5% that I wanted. I know this is a lot of numbers that I'm shouting at you, and I don't know if everyone's interested in the numbers that I am. But you know, there we go. Oh, and I have had questions about these before. These are bobbies, so bob, B-O-B-E-E-Z-E, bobbies, bobbins, and they basically, let me just whip one out. Oop. So they look like this, and I put the thread in sort of here, wrap it round, and then just clip it shut. And that you can stack them, they will stack on top of each other. Not that I ever really have a need for that, but anyway. So yeah, so just wrap it back round, and yeah, so I use these. I need to get some more because I find these really handy on my parking projects, because then all the thread that I've got I can just whack in, you know, that I'm not using. So obviously I'm using this section of my park threads, but this section here is all just wrapped up in this one, and it just hangs. Normally when I'm working, because I'm working flat, this just hangs over the top, and it just keeps it out of my way while I'm working. Stops it getting too tangled, too knotted. Also stops little paws from deciding to sort of swipe at the loose threads that are hanging off. So, you know, that works well. So I got them from Amazon. I'm sure you can find them in other places though. So that was that one. Now, apart from my finishes that I had in January, that was all of my January progress. So then I did, wait, did I? Was it January, February? Yes. Then in February, I basically had one finished, and I didn't actually do any cross stitching for virtually the whole of February. Okay, you know what, I'm just going to cut that whole thing out because that was like 10 minutes of me rambling about my eyes. Okay, so we'll start again. So February I basically did no stitching. I did lots of knitting. I did a little bit of crochet. So very small, but I'm almost finished the project that I was doing in February. That I started in February. I started a sweater, so I've almost finished that. When it's finished I will show you, but that was what I did in February. Okay, so March. Now on to March, and first thing I did was I picked up Market Stall. So this was a Haid chart that I am selling with the lovely Dobby over at, oh my god, every time I forget her channel name. Oh my god, you all know where she's from, okay? Like, which way up are we? This way. Okay, and she gifted me this chart. So this one I'm doing it on a 36 count 1/1 tent. It's 1/1 tent stitch, and I'm starting in the middle, and I'm working in 10 stitch diagonals, but I'm going in diamonds. So I'm working in diamonds all the way around. And this is obviously pictures of what it's going to be, pictures of where I was last time, and if I can get all my parked threads, because I've started in the middle, I've started where all of the confetti is, and I have approximately 300 parked threads here. So I'm going to try and scoop the parked bits out of the way so that you can see the actual stitching that I've done in the middle. And there we go. So I've got, I think it's a daffodil. There, I think it's a bunch of daffodils where I've started. But yeah, so that is my progress there. I did just over 1,000 stitches. So I did 1,030 stitches in there. So yes. And this is a bit of fabric flare. This is cloud brown. It's full coverage, so the actual fabric doesn't matter as much. Basically, I just didn't want white because I thought because a lot of the areas in this design are quite dark, and I didn't want sort of the white fabric sort of shining through too stark. So I thought if I did it on a sort of beige, it wouldn't be too bad. The same reason I'm doing my Animal Kingdom on a brown fabric. It was that same theory. Okay, so I just had an alert on my watch that my heart rate was speeding up, so I just needed a minute to try and bring my heart rate back down to normal. So then, basically then I'm, after market stall, I then picked up had a new start. So I'd had 2 finishes in January that I will show you, and I'd FFO'd both of them, although I suppose one of them doesn't really technically count as an FFO because it was already finished. That makes sense when you see it. So I had a new start, and I have also finished that and fully finished that, so that's that there to show you. So then that was basically all I worked on until I went to a retreat, so the Essex Needles Retreats, and I had another finish, another start, so that, because that put me up to my sort of technically 4 finishes, so I had another new start, and that is this one. So this is Lola Crow's Greenhouse of Oddities sale. So and I have started up at the top. So I don't, obviously this was a new start, so there's no picture of where it was before, but I started at the top of the greenhouse, and just sort of with the background, so the black, and then there's sort of you know, my brain's not working, brown, sort of grey brown, and then some white in there, and some of the crows are done. So that's the top of the main atrium finished, and this is on a, I had the tag somewhere, this is on a even weave, 32 count even weave from Megan at Coffee and Craft. So all of her fabrics are sort of one-offs, so they don't have names, and this is kind of, it's not really coming out on the camera as much, but it's like a pinky green grey fabric. I don't really know how best to describe that, but I figured it, you know, we figured it worked with that. I at the retreat I sort of had 2 or 3 different pieces that I'd picked out, and asked people to vote, and this was the winning piece. So yeah, but yeah, so that's my new sale that I started. So I started that with my sister, so I gifted her that was her for Christmas, and then we both started it together at the retreat, and we're both working with Lindsay, Blushing Stitches, no, Blushing Pink Stitches, always get those 2 words mixed up. She stocks threads, she stocks Royal Broderie threads. Are you going to focus? Maybe, maybe not. Nah, there we go. And so we're using that there. Sort of similar enough to DMC. You know, just a different brand, a bit cheaper than DMC is in this country, so that works well. And that was my new start, so that I had at the retreat. And then I worked on my Dark Queen, and this piece I continued to work on after the retreat for about another week, partly because I wanted to get that section done, and then it was like, well, it's already on my frame, you know, and blah, blah. So here is the finished piece. This is sort of a mock-up. It was a sal run by Autumn Lane Stitchery to go as a sister piece to the Dark Queen of the Sea. Is that what I called this? This is Dark Queen of the Earth. That was Dark Queen of the Sea. Right. So I think what I finished was, while I was at retreat, was the skin. So I'm doing the skin 1/1, and I finished this arm, worked on this, and then sort of where the hand sort of went into the tree, I wanted to get that matched up. So then I worked on the section that included this sort of border, so the rest of the branches that came around here, and the leaves. And then, if you remember, when the pieces came out, I said I wasn't sure whether I was going to do the orbs or the flowers, and I've decided to do a combination of both. So this one isn't one of the orbs, and then sort of at the top I'm going to do the flower. But yeah, so I worked on this one. So yeah, so in this one I put in a total of 5,461 stitches altogether across sections, and I've just got basically the face that I'm kind of working on now. Now the face, I'm going with sort of the brown version instead of the green version. So this is the face that I'm wanting, but I want the horns off of the green version going in. So I don't quite like how on the brown version she's got the branches coming out of the front of her head, sort of the forehead. I just didn't quite like that, and then I wanted the horns because my other queen has horns. So I've decided what I'm going to have to do is basically stitch the face kind of from the bottom, work her face up to kind of the top of her eyes, sort of that level, and then I'm going to count down from here and work her horns in as per the green pattern, and then I'm going to have to kind of just play around with the bit in between her horns and her eyes and just kind of make that match up somehow. So yeah, so that's where we're at the minute. I'm just going to kind of make it match, and we're going to go with that. So and then I think there's just her feet to do here, her legs, and that is pretty much it then, I think. You know, just little bits, like there's a little bit in the corner to do and a few little bits here and there, but that is pretty much the bulk of that done. So getting on quite nicely with that one. Oh yeah, so I finished part 6 and 7, and then part of 8, which was the orb. So quite a lot on that piece. And yeah, so I believe that's all of my whips. So I've just got this piece that goes to retreat with me. This is my friendship sal. This is by Stitching Mummy. This is Wander with me. This is her temperature sal, but I've sort of changed it to do friendship sal. So I've asked, I ask everyone at the retreat to do a paw print and then pop their initials on the pattern, and I'm going to embroider their initials onto, you know, their names onto the paw prints as we go. So I've got almost, this is almost full now, so I'm going to have to start doing the initials soon. So yeah, but I had a few more of those added in this last week. So yeah, and that is on a piece of, is it Autumn Sky? What is it? Autumn's Rainbow. Ada from, oh gosh, I can't remember. Is it Fox? Something Fox fabric. Oh gosh, my brain's gone now. If I can find it out, I will drop it in the notes if I can find out where that's from. But yeah, so that is all my whips. So there we go. So that's under half an hour, which is good. So I'm going to pause there. I'm going to clear all this away. Then I'm going to show you my finishes. Okay. Okay, well that was exciting. So the frame that was, you know, quite happy, just sat there, literally just fell straight onto this, which was like a candle wax melt, which was hot wax, which then literally just flew everywhere over all of this stuff here. So that was like a nice 10 minutes of panicking, trying to get hot wax off stuff that hot wax probably shouldn't be on. But yeah, so now we're back. Where were we? We were about to do finishes. Luckily, I just moved everything away from that spot, so we're all good. Now, okay, finishes. So, this one I've got. Oh, that got my heart rate up. Okay, so we had Black Swan. Okay, Black Swan, Black Moon Cat. So I did 1,968 stitches in there, and then I fully finished it. So if I've got a picture of where it was to start with, I'll put that up, but here it is finished. But yeah, so this is a Dimensions kit called Black Moon Cat. I'm sure it's Black Moon Cat, not Black Cat Moon. Black Moon Cat. Anyway, so I've already given the chart away, so like no. But yeah, there it is finished. So that's the tree, which is mainly done in like an effect of a tree. So you've just got the back stitch of the light parts of the branches, so where the moonlight touches the branch, but there's no actual branch there. So it's quite a good effect there. And then just sort of little sort of French, yeah, did I do French knots? Yeah, I did French knots for the stars. And there's the kitty cat. And I did put a little part, sort of question just on my stories, because I've sort of finished it down to sort of just here. I've sort of done the square, and I wasn't sure whether to leave it like that. And I think the votes came in to carry on and finish the bottoms. So to work in the bottom of the actual fences, so that you could tell it was sitting on a fence. But yeah, so that is all finished, and then I had this frame just sat in a cupboard, which was just the right size. So that is all fully finished. Unless I did record me lacing this as a tutorial. That recording is not here now, so that was one of the recordings that I lost. But if you would like a lacing tutorial, next time I finish something that needs lacing into a frame, I will try and record again and do again. But yeah, so I laced this onto a piece of backing board, like a mount board, and then popped that in here, and then just pop the back of the frame back on, and put the things in there. So yeah, that is done. And I think I've just noticed that I didn't sign it, so I might have to take it out and take it out the frame and just put my initials on in the corner to sign it. So I've got to sign them. See, I was so excited that I'd finished it and I had a frame that fitted that I completely forgot to do that. But that is all done. So, and then, oh, my other finish. See, I went in there 3 times to pick something up, to pick this item up to show you what I'd finished. And each time I came back with a different thing and not the item that I actually wanted to get. So now I'm going to go in for the 4th time upstairs to go and find my finish to show you. So please hold. 4th time lucky. So, so this is Jean. Jean someone. Do I have it written down here? Oh no, I do not have it done. Well, it's a young girl reading. Ah yeah, Jean Honore Fragonard. So this is from the Stitch Patterns. So they have a whole collection of sort of mini artworks. So basically where they've taken, you know, the big artworks, sort of, you know, Van Gogh paintings, Jean Foscard paintings, Monet, Vinci, and basically scoop them down into little minis. So this is the artwork that this is based on, and this is obviously the pattern that I followed, and I did have to crop it down a little bit because I was working on this box, and this box had a certain size. I think it was 30 by 30, so I just had to crop a little bit off to make it square. But yeah, and there is my finish. So I don't know if it's shown up on camera. The book is definitely a different colour to the background. She's reading. I did have to be quite clever in where I placed my back stitching, because obviously with stitching onto the box it had a set number of holes and the holes were in a set place. So where some of the back stitching, especially around her face, was sort of, you were supposed to sort of just do like a quarter stitch, so going into the middle of the stitch. Well, this is a box, it doesn't have that, so I had to basically go down and then go in between the threads of the cross that I'd made, and then weave the rest of the strand behind the stitch that I'd already done and down to the nearest hole that I could. So you can see that sort of it does make it look like, you know, you can see that this one is a quarter, it hasn't been done into the hole, the eye goes sort of down into the middle of that cross. But to kind of get the portions right, I had to be quite artful with where I put those. But that is finished, and obviously it goes straight into it was done straight into a box, so that is nice and neatly fully finished. A nice box. At the minute all I have in there are the threads that I used to stitch this that need going away. But yeah, so not sure what I will use this for at the minute. Maybe to keep sort of my packs of needles and sort of cross stitch needles and needle threaders and other things that I've got. I might look at keeping those in here. But yeah, so that was my well, technically I think this was my first finish. The black cat was my second finish of the year, but these were my January finishes. So yeah, so all done. So that was a young girl reading by the Stitch Patterns. So that was my two finishes. So then I had a new start. So, and this is by Ros Clark Crafts, and this is her celebration of colour sale. So I'll pop a picture in where it is. Now I saw this when she first sort of started it, and I really wasn't that into it when I saw because she sort of just done, I think part one was just sort of the background, it was like a mystery sale, you know, so part one was just the background, sort of some of the borders, and I was just like, you know, wasn't really that fussed about it. But as she got into sort of parts, you know, I think when it started to get to part, what are we on, 1, 2, 5, yeah, once we got to part 5, part 6, that was when I thought, actually, no, I do quite like how this is turning out. So yeah, so I picked it up and started this, and I basically worked on it pretty much every day for a week prior to the retreat. I worked on it at the retreat, and then I believe the last day of March was when the last piece was dropped, and each piece was only about 300 stitches once you got the border done. So I did that last piece on the last day of March and then finished it. And I haven't got anything to put behind to show you to bring the colours out, but this is her celebration of colour sale. So you basically start with a colour wheel, and you pick 12 colours that sort of match in the colour wheel, and her videos that she does, she walks you through the sale, sort of her first video, and you know, introducing the sale, and then I believe video number 1 for part number 1, she does go through sort of picking your colours, how colours work together, and colour theory, and then she did 12 videos to go with each of the 12 parts. And as she goes through, she speaks about some of the designers, that, you know, the designer artist that inspired this sort of style, and then various works on colour theory, how colours work together, why she's put certain colours in certain places, you know, and other pieces there. So watching the series that she'd recorded alongside stitching it was really interesting. It really helped sort of, as I was putting the colours in, sort of show me where to look and what I'm looking for, because sometimes when you're looking colours, sometimes you can look at colours and know that they go together, or know that they don't go together, but knowing why that is, what it is, is the basis of colour theory, and that's what she explains, so that then if you were to pick up a colour and think, well, I want a colour to go with this, you know what sort of colour family you want to go and look at. So, which was really interesting, and sort of looking at sort of here, well, this one here, so it has a green inside a purple, and this is the same purple but now inside the green, and looking at how the colours present different. It's really hard to show on the screen, so you need to stitch this and then do it in person so you can actually see them. But also it was an interesting, so how you did the 12 parts was you did it in colour, so you started with the sort of red purple, and then we worked onto the red, and then went round to the oranges and yellows and the blues. So it was really interesting because you were doing all the reds, the oranges and yellows, and then once you started to put the green in, how it really changed how the piece looked. It was quite autumnal once you got the green in, and then adding the other colours, and sort of looking at how the colour dominance changed as you were adding colours to it. And also looking at there's some places where it's the same colours are used in different parts but just with a different dominance, and how it made it look like you were using more than 12 colours, just because of where you were putting those next to each other. So it was a really interesting sort of style to stitch, and it was a really interesting series to listen to and to follow along with. But yeah, so I really enjoyed this, and then I wasn't really sure what to do with it, because it was like, well, you know, it's not like a picture you would get framed. It was like, well, now what? And I'd seen some sort of vintage samplers were always sort of finished with this sort of edging, and I thought, you know what, I've never done that on a vintage sampler, why don't I try it on this? I don't like my corners. I don't think I did the corners properly. However, I was doing this on 18 count Ada, and this style of finishing the corners you would normally do on a linen or an even weave, where you would you'd cut the threads away, you would then sort of weave them into the edge, so the corner would be a full corner. Whereas with the Ada, I couldn't do that, so I just ended up pulling it all the way out, which left the corners a bit sparse. But I don't know if this is going to show up very well. Maybe, maybe not. Okay, I will put a picture in, a close-up of how I did the edging. Well, to show you the edging. In terms of how I did it, obviously this isn't quite correct in terms of what you would do with a linen or an even weave, because this was Ada, but it got the same effect, and it sort of has finished it quite nicely, and there's no sort of frayed edges, you know, nothing's going to sort of come apart anywhere around. So I am pretty happy with this as it is. I don't know what to do with it, so you know, whether I want to sort of back it onto something. Oh, there's my back. So you see my back's a bit, you know. With Ada, I'm a bit less conscious of trailing the threads behind, because you're less likely to see them through the front anyway. And obviously with this being quite heavily stitched, there's not many spaces for you to see the threads through. So in terms of sort of trailing, you know, the ends, I wasn't very conscious about that. Like, yeah. But anyway, so I back this onto like a piece of mount, like a mount board, and just stick it on. Because I can't lace it now that I've got an edge into it. Or what I thought is I might get a piece of like felt, you know, fabric, and literally just stitch it onto the back so that my back is covered, so that I'm not going to catch any of those threads, and then just sort of have it sort of rolled up, maybe with a little ribbon, and then just to pull out, basically, if I'm trying to match colours or work on colours for a piece of my own, and use it for reference. So yeah, so not 100% sure with that, but I'm quite happy calling it finished. So I am very happy with that. Highly recommend going, and even if you don't stitch this, go and watch her series as she goes through it, and sort of just listen to the explanations of how the colour works. She's done so much research on it. Make the most of it. Go and watch her videos. The videos are free. You know, go watch them. So yeah, so love that piece. And yeah, so that was my first finish of March, so my third finish of the year, and my third fully finish. So here are my colours for the Celebration in Colour Sal. Now I'm just going to read through them very quickly, I will put a list below as well, but you know, this will give you an idea of the actual colours that we used. So, rather than just a list of random numbers, and then hopefully you can see. So, in order of the parts that were completed, I used CXC, but the colours are the same. So I had 915, that is a lot more purpley than it's showing. So that was my red purple. Then my red was 321. My red orange was 817. My orange was 608. My orange yellow was 741. That's there. My yellow was 444. This one I used almost a full skein because this is the colour that you use for the background as well. Okay, so the others you only do a few hundred stitches, but this one, because you're using it for the borders, sorry, not the background, you use a lot more. So 444. Then my yellow green was 166. My green was 3818. My green blue was 3808. My blue was 820. My blue purple was 333, and my purple was 550. Okay, and how I worked out my colours was I basically picked up colours that I definitely wanted to include. So I knew I wanted to include 915 as my purpley red. I knew I wanted 550 to be my purple. And I knew 3808 is one of my favourites, and I wanted to include that in there as well. Probably wasn't the best colour to have picked for that part of the colour wheel, but I wanted to include it, and you know, that's where I went from. Oops, dropped down the floor and lost it. Haha. So, and then I basically sort of went round from there. So obviously this was all one side of the colour wheel. You know, you pink, purple, there was no sort of yellow in here. But I basically started where I wanted, and Ros does go through on her choosing the colours video. So the video right at the very start, her introduction to the cell, she does explain to you how to pick the colours, how to set them out on the wheel, and how to fill them in. And then she does a couple of examples with you. So I sort of basically followed her guide and sort of put these where I wanted these three to be, and then sort of fitted the rest in as I went. Now my yellow green and my green were the only two that were slightly too far apart. So this yellow green needed to be a bit more green, because on my actual stitching you can see that there is a very harsh line between those two. But the rest of my colours did flow very well. And obviously as you're stitching you will learn which ones flow. Now do remember that although DMC do have sort of 400 odd colours, they don't have every single colour that exists on the colour wheel. So you're never going to be able to get a perfect wheel of colours with them. But Ros goes through all that, and she does loads of stuff to help you pick your favourite colours, and what sort of effect you want. Whether you want to go brights or jewels, sort of like I did, or more muted, lighter, paler. She does all of that. So yeah, so they were those videos. There you go. And then this, I'm going to have to put a better picture in because it's so small. So this finish, this is Hag in Folklore, is the pattern from Shitpost Samplers. And all I did was I did the very edge piece of this, of the design. So just the crow sat on the broomstick sort of thing. Partly because I did start doing the words, but because the stitches were so small, you really couldn't see the letters well enough to make it worth me doing all of those letters and you not being able to read it. So I might do this pattern again as a complete bookmark, you know, as a full piece. But this is finished. I've already cut it out. This is fully finished, and this is my teeny tiny crow. And you're not going to be able to see it at all. I'm going to have to put a photo in because you've got no chance. This is from this works out 78 count. So Kaylee Cross Stitch, I raised you 78 count. So this is on a piece of basically it's a piece of like backing fabric, quilting fabric. What it is I was looking at Sparkly's fabrics that she had out at the retreat a year ago, and this was in her sort of just the quilting fabric section, and I was like, this is the perfect colour for another cross stitch that I was doing, one of my Bella mermaids. I was like, do you have this in a cross stitch fabric? And she was like, oh no, I've sold out, but I can dye some up, sort of thing. And I was like, well, what counts this? And she's like, what do you mean what count is that? You can't stitch on that. And as soon as those words came out of her mouth, I was like, of course I can stitch on that. I'm going to make myself stitch on that now. So I had to stitch on this. But this was using microfill first. It's a polyester thread. So it's much thinner weight than DMC, because I did try using one strand of DMC and just doing tent stitch, and that was horrendous. It was way too thick. So this was just using that one strand. It is full cross. Like I said, I'll try and get some macro photos for you so that you can sort of see properly zoomed in. But obviously for reference, there's my finger next to it. So that's how tiny it is. So yeah, and the needle I used was a size 28 beading needle. So this is a round point. They're John James, and it's a round point, so it's not sharp. I'll sort of hold it like that so you can get an idea of the size. And it has a very small eye in it, and it's a beading needle, but it's a round point, so it's not sharp. Obviously, if you jammed it in your finger, it would be, but it's as sharp as a regular cross stitch needle. You know, a thin cross stitch needle. So yeah, obviously be careful because it's thin and it will stab you. But yeah, but that was what I used to get through the teeny tiny holes, and that was finish number 4. Not 100% sure what I'm going to do with this, although when I was I had to go and show it off to a few people at the retreat, and Claire at, oh gosh, what's your channel name? I'm doing really bad with channel names. Is it Creatively Crafting Claire? Please don't take my word for anything. I will work it out and I will write it in letters. You know, I will write it in the comment, in the description, so you can find her, but her channel. And I showed her, and she had the brilliant idea about finishing this onto a pendant necklace. And I thought, you know those really old necklaces you get, like I want to say cabochon, but I don't think that's the word. You know, the sort of oval necklace, sort of ornate round, and they had like the relief of, like in white, of like a lady's silhouette face or a man's silhouetted face in black and white. That style, that's what I'm picturing in my head. So to sort of finish that into one of those sort of style necklaces. So I need to see if I can buy the little pendant or a little frame that's kind of that shape that I can then make into a pendant. I don't know, that's going to take some research and some googling, but yeah, that is my aim for finishing this. So thank you, Claire, because that was a genius idea, and that is what I'm going to do. But yeah, so that was finish number 4. But yeah, so where are we? And obviously that's not fully finished yet, so we're still waiting on that. And where are we? So I've had 4 finishes, and I've had 1 new start. So, and that was my greenhouse sale. So obviously 1 start and finish was on there. And yeah, so now I'm going to show you. So this is my map. Now I took this to the retreat where it was sabotaged cruelly. Basically I left my drink a bit too close and it got knocked over. So it was my own stupid fault. But also because I had it sat here waiting to show you, it is now also in that same corner that I'd spilled drink on it. It is now also been spilled with hot wax. So I have like this, like you can't sort of see it as much on the video, which is fine, and you can't, I mean you can see it on the back, so that's where the hot wax has gone straight through. So yeah, it's got a very weird texture to it now. And there's still bits of wax coming off. I tried to scrape most of it off, but yeah, so in some lights, to be fair, you can't see it at all, and I am not that bothered. I'm going to leave it for a couple of days, and as long as sort of nothing really happens with the wax, as long as the wax doesn't start to melt and like stain everything it touches, I'm just going to leave it as it is. Obviously if there is a problem with the wax, I will have to reprint it, and that, which I will do anyway. But this is my new WIPopoly board. So you see there's my little mark there, because that was on Market Street, which was what I rolled, my first roll. So this is my new WIPopoly board. So this is Ultimate WIPopoly, based on Ultimate Monopoly. So if you Google Ultimate Monopoly, it will find this board. It's basically the regular board, then with the mini Monopoly inside, and then the like mega Monopoly outside. And some very nice person has put all three together, made a few sort of changes in terms of like stations, made it all new rules and everything. So you can Google all of that. You can buy the giant Ultimate Monopoly boards and all of that. Did I write down it was from? Yeah, Super Rad. So yeah, Monopoly is from Hasbro. The Super add-on is from Rad Games, RAD, and Monopoly Mega Edition is made by Winning Movies. And then obviously someone just put all three together, because, you know, why not? So yeah, so if anyone's not seen my WIPopoly board, I might do a short with just like a quick like, this is here, this is here, this is here. But yeah, basic rules. So obviously you've got the old, you know, the original, so the go, you go to jail, you know, your jail, your chance, community chest, and then there's a few extra bits just to obviously compensate for the fact that it's a much bigger board to help you get around the board. And yeah, and what I do with this is I roll 2 regular D6 dice, same as you would with a regular Monopoly, and then I stitch on the project that I land on, and I stitch. So if I rolled a 5, so 3 and a 2 would be 5, that would be 500 stitches. So I do that on the bar. And if I land, so like there's your tax squares that add extra on. I can't find a tax square at the minute because my brain's not working. There we go. So yeah, income tax, I have to do an extra 200 stitches. So if I land on that, whatever I land on next, I have to add 200 stitches to pay the income tax. Then I also have my chance and my community chest cards, all sort of based on the game, but also I did ask a couple of years ago when I was starting the game what I should do. So I had some sort of extra ones added in, that sort of viewer cards that they'd added challenges for me. So WIPopoly. So there we go. And while I've got it out, we might as well run it. I don't have my dice here. I do have I have a speaky thing though, so I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask her, so obviously mute this for a sec if you don't want it to activate yours, or you know what, if it does activate your girl as well, tell me what number she came up with. Alexa, give me a number between 1 and 12.
Here's a number between 1 and 12. It's 10.
10. Okay, so let's try and move this. So I use a needle minder so that I don't lose it. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, we've hit a train station. And because it's even, that means we move rails. So we're going to move down. And then 7, 8, 9, 10. And that is, oh, I landed on trash collector. So that's my square there. So let's move that down so you can see. And it says to work on my smallest whip. And I rolled a 10, so obviously times it by 100, that would give me 1,000 stitches. So I have to put 1,000 stitches into my smallest whip. Now, I can't think offhand what my smallest whip is. I think it is Seashell Treasures, which is my dimensions, but I am not 100% sure, and I don't know if I can find it with any speed. Oh no, wait, a smaller one I have is the one of my mini artwork series. So sorry, I got hiccups. Wheatfield with Crows, so my Van Gogh mini artwork. I actually believe that could be my smallest now. Yes. Oh wow, Seashell Treasures is like 5 away from being my smallest. Okay, so yeah. So wheat filled with crows, some mini artworks. So I don't know if there's 1,000 stitches to be done on that. If not, I will finish it and then I will put the rest of that 1,000 into my next smallest, which is my Black Lives Matter pin cushion, which I'm also doing on this teeny tiny fabric, but I'm doing it over 2 with a strand of DMC. So yes, that's 49 stitches squared, and yeah, Charlotte is 70 squared. Yeah, so I put in my list, I wrote, of all my WIPs, I wrote the rough start year, the size of it, and then the percentage complete if I kind of knew a percentage. So there, and then I also went through and highlighted my smallest WIPs in blue so that I could find them easier. So that's what that was. But yes, so 1,000 stitches. So on my wheat field, potentially also on my Black Lives Matter pin cushion. So that is going to be my next project that I'm going to start maybe later today. It depends if I get around to editing this today or tomorrow. But yeah, so, and we're at an hour, and I think I'm pretty much done with sort of things that I have done. Does that make sense? Oh, here's all my my little stack of community chest cards and sort of station cards and chance cards. So I kept those in a baggie so they didn't get hot wax all over them, you know, conveniently enough. So, but yes, so that is all of my stuff that I worked on. Let's hang that somewhere. So my WIPs and my finishes, and my WIPopoly. I now have my next project picked, so that's what I'm going to be working on. The last thing I have to show is basically the things that I acquired from the Essex Needles Retreat. So things from my destash table, and things that I purchased either from the destash table or from the sort of stalls that were there selling. So I have some fabrics, I have some charts, and I have a couple of kits and different things as well. So I'm going to show those now, but obviously if you don't care for my shopping, then by all means, thank you for staying this long. I know it's been a long one, but thank you ever so much, and I love you lots, and I will see you next time. Hopefully I am hoping to do some shorter videos rather than leaving it to the end of the month and then it being so much and then me struggling to kind of get through everything and edit it all. If I can do shorter, more frequent videos, if I do them more frequently, they will be shorter. If they're shorter, they will you understand where I'm going. But anyway, so hopefully I will see you soon. But yes, I love you lots. So here we go. So we're going to go through this hopefully quite quick. We'll see. But we will start off with this was my birthday present that I got from my sister. So, and this is what I asked for. So it was the kit that she bought me. So I've got the fabric, the threads, and the beads for, this is a Nora Corbett, and this is the Sea Witch. So I saw this one done on a piece of purple fabric and I really love the way that looks. So not sure, I mean this seems a lot darker than that one there, but either way, I mean I'm sure it is what's called for, but it just looks darker than the picture. But I might swap that out for a more lilac piece to do her on purple. So there we go. So that is Sea Witch by Nora, and that was my birthday present from my little sister. So thank you very much, Lee. That'll go in my, you know, to start pile, where, you know, because I don't have many starts, so like that can, but yeah. So that was that one. Oh, let's make some room here. There we go. Then onto the retreat. Let's try and pull some things out. I've got them all in this very precariously in this bag down here. So let's let's see, I bought from Ink Circles, so assembly required. So it's basically all the parts of a skeleton laid out. I thought this was quite funny. So obviously I mentioned earlier I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, so it means the part of your body that's supposed to connect all the parts of your body together, the collagen, I don't have that, it doesn't work. So when I saw this, it just made me laugh because that's exactly how it feels. Someone is to have EDS, it's like none of your parts are attached and you have to kind of hold everything together. It was hilarious to me, so I bought that one, so I have to list that. Then what else did we get? Oh, you know what, I can't remember getting this or whether this was Mum that bought this. It might have been me, I don't know. So this is Scaredy Cats by Kitten Bixby. So very cute cats there. Halloweeny one. And another chart, so this is Java, this is HD77, Hands-on Designs Block Party. So this is the coffee one. It doesn't come with the pins, but it does come with the little, you know, the little felt patch that you put on top. So yeah, so I do quite like those pins, so I might have to find some or make some. Then I also bought this. This is Valerie Pfeiffer Trios series. Three's a Crowd, and this is baby sparrows, which just looks so cute. So you can see you've got this one screaming, and that one that clearly just has a headache and wants everybody to shut up. And I'm like, yeah, I have to stitch those. So that is the chart for that one. Then I also bought a Nimue. So this is Chat Malo, so Marshmallow Cat. And that just looks so adorable. Just bright pink cat, all snuggled up on blankies. Have to have that one. I'm trying to separate the things that I bought from the things that I acquired. So another one that I bought was another one of these witches. So this is the witching hour. So she's got a cup of coffee, she's got a cat. So very relaxed on what looks like a very uncomfortable chair, but you know, it works. So then I got another one of Lena Lawson's. So I have a couple of her designs. So these ones are based on Pascal Moguero's art. And so that's a little fairy sleeping on a spider's web between some books. So I thought that was very adorable. Okay, I'm going to pause here because these packets are very rattly. I'm going to get the fabric out, okay? Right, there we go. That's better. Okay. So I bought this fabric. So this is Dark Goddess. This is 32 count linen. And okay, that's 2 see-through. There we go. So it is very sort of quite a dark pink and black. So very cute. Actually, I'm wondering whether I could get away with doing, where is it? Doing that one, because this is in all in sort of whites and greys. So whether I could do that on that fabric maybe. She'd really stand out. Ooh. I might do that. So I might put that in there with that one. So, but yes, so that is Dark Goddess. Then I bought Rainforest. So this is a 40 count linen. So greens, they're all sort of double this size, but I'm keeping them folded so you can see the colours better. But yeah, a very mottled sort of green, which looks quite fun. Then I have Lorcan. So again, this is a 40 count linen. So kind of a bluey, like a bluey purple. That one. So some of these were colours that, you know, I knew I didn't have in my stash, so wanted to have to play. So this is Capricorn. So this one was quite nice. This is kind of a yellowy green. So yeah, really quite liked that one. Wasn't sure whether to use this one for my Cathedral Woods Goddess. That's 36 count linen. So because, you know, I'm thinking she might go quite well on that. but I might need to do like a floss toss just to see how the colours work with the kind of yellowy beige. And then this one I might do the marshmallow cat on. So this is slightly rosy. This is a 40 count linen. So, and it's kind of a, it's a bit more pink. It's like a bubblegum pink, but very pale bubblegum pink on that one. So, oh, and then that was this is a piece of Megan's fabric that I picked up. So 46 count, sort of bluey grey fabric there. So I'm just going to put all those back in their envelopes now. There we go, they're all back. So Kate at Sparkly's uses a compostable film. Oh, alarm going off. A compostable film for her fabrics. So the actual crinkliness is really loud. So yeah, there's definitely a line between, you know, ASMR crinkles and blowing out your eardrum crinkles. So there we go. So Kate also has, normally has a box of sort of scraps, false dyes, basically extras. So either ones that she sort of misdyed, so when she was, you know, or experiments that she was sort of trying colours out, or just sort of smaller odd shaped pieces as well. So I bought a few of those. So this I believe is a 40 count, but it's that's it. It's not folded. So sort of has kind of a greeny brown at the bottom and then comes into quite a dark blue. So yeah, so sort of looks just looks quite fun to play with. All of those bits of colour separately, or if I can get away with it, you know, a whole piece, you know, long piece, long thin bit, I don't know, but I just quite like those colours. Then there was this piece that looks like a 32 count. This is an even weave. This is quite pale blue. Now I got the Words of Wisdom box from Nicola Parkman, so Hands Across the Sea, and I think some of those samplers might look nice over one. I might be able to get a couple on this fabric, sort of the pale blue. And then this is just a really long band, so really long, like, I mean, almost my height, so what we're looking at maybe is 3-4 foot, and it's just sort of a light blue, sort of mottled all the way along. I mean, it's got to be the width of a fat half, because there is a selvage on both sides, so it's a whole width of the fabric. So it's obviously an offcut from the end, but what are we looking at? Is it a 30, maybe a 36 count? However, I thought that would work well for a bit like a doodle cloth, or for a long thin, you know, obviously I might not do it 4 foot long, but use part of it for a thin sort of bell pull over one, or sort of some of the alphabets that you get. So I believe that was all my purchases. I think what I've got left are from the D-stash. So these are either things that I bought from the D-stash. I did think there was more. Maybe my mum has commandeered what I purchased and put it into her bag. We will wait and see. I'll have to snoop through what her stuff was. But, so the first thing I bought was this. Now, this was the first Bella that I fell in love with, but I couldn't find it at the time, so I ended up buying a couple of the mermaids, and then almost forgot about this piece. Sort of, I didn't see anyone stitching it, so it wasn't like it was always in front of me. But this is Gaia. This is the Earth Goddess, and this is this piece. And the lovely Ema was selling this chart on, so I now have this. So, oh, I wonder if that Capricorn, that kind of greeny one, but I don't know if it'd blend too much in, so I might have to do a floss toss with that. That might go quite nice. But yeah, so the Earth Goddess. So I do love that piece. But yeah, so I now have that. And then freebies. So Ema had a finish at the retreat, and she finished this, which is the oh gosh, it's in Russian. I'm afraid I can't read Cyrillic. Cyrillian. So that is it's the cat. it's the cat with the houses inside. So I'm pretty sure. Oh, Bayan cat. There is a translation just on the back. So Bayan cat. And yeah, so she had a finish, and then obviously popped her leftovers on the destash, which I picked up. So there is in here, there is a few remains. I don't know if there's enough to obviously restitch the whole lot, but there's enough that I would be able to sort of match, colour match. So these, I believe, are the owl thread, oh, they're all a bit loose, the actual owl forest overdyed threads. So at least that's what they say. So, but yeah, so hopefully I can, if there's not enough, but I can gather from here a colour match, sort of, but yeah. And there's a very little piece of the green left, but yeah, so I should be able to sort of match some colours, or just pick my own, but yeah, so I love that one. Then this was another finish that was on the table that I thought was quite cute, so let's scooch that off. So this is Ink Circles Wash Your Hands. Not sure if I'll finish it, sort of just do the germs part, or whether I'll finish it into the square with the words on, but yeah, quite like that one. That was finished actually a couple of times. It appeared twice on the destash table, no, on the finishes table. So someone had done it, I think as charted on the fabric, and then someone else has done it sort of over one and a bit smaller, so it's quite nice to sort of see the differences, and also the differences in colour. And then I saw this as well, so apparently this is very easy. So this is, it just says cross stitch on the back, Funny Cat I think is what it's called, but it is on giant canvas with wool. It's a printed canvas to make sort of a bolster or a draft excluder. I just thought it would be quite fun to do. On there, so I've not really worked from a printed chart, or at least not a printed chart on such a large scale fabric. So yeah, so not sure how that'll work up, but yeah, but that might be quite fun to do up and then put in my nephew's room for him. But yeah, so there we go. So that was everything, I think, that I got from the retreat. And yeah, that was all my shopping, and I think that is everything I have to show you. So my timer says we're nearly at an hour, well, just over an hour and a half, so I'm hoping I can shorten it a little bit for you all, but we will see. But anyway, if you're still watching, thank you ever so much, and I will see you next time. So hopefully it won't be too long, but yeah, and we'll see you soon. So, and I might have another finish. So if I get that wheat field finish with that 1000 stitches, I might have another finish on its way. So yeah, so that'll be finish number 5 for the year. So we're cracking through some of them, which is very exciting. But yeah, and anyway, so have a lovely April until I next see you, and I will talk to you soon. So bye bye. Love you lots. Bye.